Hey you guys, welcome back to Angel Angela, and on this topic I wanted to talk to you guys about how the narcissist needs you to be in fear. The narcissist needs you to be in fear, and I wanted to speak about this because fear is one of the most powerful things that someone can use against you. Fear is also a very powerful feeling. And, when you're dealing with narcissistic people, you go through almost every emotion except for fear. If things get bad, right? If there's an argument, you might be a little fearful because you're like, this person's yelling, but in the back of your head, you're thinking, they're not going to do anything to me, right? So then guess what? It gets worse. It gets worse. And in the moment, you're fearful, but then it goes away, right? And if you stick around, people are wondering, why are you sticking around? Run, right? You're like a deer on, in the headlights, and you're just standing there looking, and the narcissist just has this look of disgust because they're aware that you don't even know what's taking place and what they're doing. All the red flags are there and you're ignoring them. They're standing there, with a gun to your face, and you're like, oh, you're not going to do it. You're not going to do anything. You love me. You care about me. There's almost like no fear in you. Sometimes they have to show you their anger. Their anger they explode. You piss them off. Why am I pissing you off? What am I doing? What am I doing to you? You're just going to make them more mad. Why? Because they see you have no fear and they don't like that. Those are reasons that they're with you, because you're good supply. Because to them, you don't know what's going on. To them, you're not in reality. To them, you're the delusional one because you don't see the red flags. When other people pick up on things, when you share things with people, what happens? The narcissist is angry because they're fearful because they need you at the same time. They're upset you're sharing things with people, and guess what? People are telling you, that sounds like a con. That sounds like a con artist. That sounds like a romance scam. That person's not real. That person's lying to you. How well do you know this person? Do you have any children? No? Okay, it's time for you to go. But there's no fear. And when the boogeyman comes, you're so open to them to give them supply. But they know you should be afraid of them because there's nothing that they won't do to keep using you as supply. So there's moments where you might, reality might hit you, right? But now the narcissist has to put fear onto you. So what do? They tell you something happened to them. They tell you, that they're going through something, or they've went through things in the past that makes them not trust people, and they didn't know if they could trust you. Anything for you to open that door, anything so that you wouldn't be fearful, right? It's like giving candy to a baby. Here's some candy. Do you need a ride? And they take what they want, and then they say, hey, you wanted a ride. You got something. So the narcissist, a lot of times they feel like they're not doing anything. They feel like, hey, anyone could have drove in this boat because you're not aware. You're not here. You're living in another world. You're living in a world where you just don't have enough information, enough wisdom, enough pain. You haven't felt enough pain. So what happens? You share things with them. You tell them, I went through this too. Guess what? Sometimes they're just saying things to you. They didn't even really go through certain things. They just want to see if you're going to expose these things to them. And you might not even be fearful of these things, or else you would be more cautious about who you're sharing these things with. It means it's just a memory, and you weren't even aware of it. You didn't feel like it brought any pain to you because you put it behind. You don't think about it. And the narcissist feeds off of that. They're like, I'm going to use this against you later. I'm going to use this against you later. Oh, I didn't do it to you. I didn't do nothing to you. Someone else did it. So a lot of times they bring up events in your memories that you've probably put away, right? But it's your way of relating to someone. It's your way of almost bringing life into them, or trying to show them like, hey, life, you shouldn't feel that way about life. But guess what? The narcissist is fearful. It's like having fears and having events and things happening in your life, and you're trying to protect your children from these things because you don't want them to feel stress. You don't want them to feel the stressors of reality, right? So the narcissist could have came to you at first sharing certain fears, but then they're going to come to a point where they're going to feel like you don't get it. You're not strong enough to take to take my baggage, my fears. You're not strong enough to deal with my fears, my insecurities. And you feel them and you feel them. And you give them so many chances, and they use and abuse you every single time. And what does that do? It brings fear, because now you feel like you can't go back. And the narcissist knows that, but the narcissist can't handle what you're feeling, because they can only feel for themselves. So the narcissist is a very fearful person, because they stick around you knowing they can feed you stories and feed off of your fear to control you. They can't do that with someone who already has fear in them, someone who's been through enough pain to be careful about people and how people just say things to you, right? So this is why a lot of times narcissists go and they prey on the young and the weak, because they're not fearful. They're adventurous. They're like doing things that are spontaneous. They're not thinking of the repercussions and what it might do or how it might affect them as they get older, right? So they like partying, they like doing things behind your back, they like being around people that are, you know, that are living every day like it's their last, but aren't really thinking about it. They're not really conscious of it the way the narcissist is. So that brings peace, that brings, relief. That makes them feel good. This is why a lot of times they won't get with someone who sees through them, right? So it's based on a lie. It's based on them not wanting to face their fears. It's them talking bad about those people that are doing their best to do the right thing, right? They know not to go after certain supplies. They're like, oh, I can't stick around here long enough because I can't just bring fear into this person's life. They're not going for it. Their family's not going for it. I can't manipulate this person. I can't put fear into them and scare them. They're going to call the cops on me. They're going to call the cops on me. And that's going to be my karma. So they like to be around people that they could put fear into, people that aren't aware of them, so that when that person wants to defend themselves, the narcissist is they're going to say, oh, I'm going to call the police on them. And then I'm going to go to the next supply, and I'm going to tell the next supply my ex was crazy and I was trying to get her out of the house and she started fighting with me, so I had to call the cops on her. They're going to play the victim. That's why it is very dangerous when you're dealing with these people, because you share things, right? You're sharing your past. Then when things are happening, you think you got someone that understands you, so you go to them, right? You feel like they share things with you. Lots of times they're lying, they're fabricating stories, they're telling other people's stories that they've ran across. You don't really know this person. That's why they feel so powerful. Because they feel like, I'm not here to save you. I'm here to save myself. So when you're speaking to them about things that are happening to you, guess what? They're not even listening. They don't even care. These aren't good people to be around when you're going through things or you're going through health problems or anything. These aren't good people to be around when you have your whole life ahead of you and they don't, or they've done things, or they are showing you with their actions that you can't fully trust them. They're secretive about everything, their phones, everything, right? They're secretive all the time because they don't really want you to know who they really are. So, these aren't good people to be around, period. Because their mission is going to be to destroy you, to see you at a weak point, because this is what's going to make them feel good. They know certain people have fear and they're strong and they're looking out for their family. They're taking care of what matters. The narcissists, they're afraid. They're afraid. Sometimes they stick around these strong people, right? But behind closed doors, there's somebody else that's the real them. In front of them, they're like, hey, this person, they're satisfied with the bare minimum. I'm sticking around. This is all I ever hope for. It's not going to get better from here. This is a great supply. But that's not the real them. That's not the real them. That's what people don't understand. And when that person needs the narcissist emotionally, it's too much for them. They'll give bad advice. They'll go based off of what they think, what they believe, and then you're going to be making the wrong choices. This person's going to make the wrong choices being around the narcissist. If you're on their bad side, guess what? They're definitely, if you did something, they're going to feel like, I'm going to get you later. And if you're not aware of that, things around you will start to change. You're going to have bad luck and you're not going to know where it's coming from. And you're going to feel like, well, that had nothing to do with the narcissist. But now you're vibrating off of fear. And a lot of times all they do is get you worked up even more because they don't have the answers. They don't know how to comfort you. At least not the way you need it. They might say nice things, but it's something off about it. You don't feel good. It's not comforting. So now your frequency, you're vibrating really low. And the narcissist knows this. And they even become fearful because they're fearful that they're going to lose you as supply, as primary source of supply. Not because you're going to see them for who they are, but because they can't do what they're being accustomed to doing anymore. To them, it's a win-win, but at the same time, they're like, I don't want to go back to that. So I'm going to fight for it. I'm going to stall for as long as I can until I find better. I'm not going anywhere. You can't kick me out of here. You can't give me an eviction. You can't get me out of here. I'm not leaving until I say I'm leaving. The narcissist puts fear into you and then they're like, I'm not leaving until I feel like leaving. It's like a wild animal going into a store and they're like causing a commotion and then you're like trying to get the wild animal out and it's like, I'm not leaving until I say I'm leaving. Trying to put fear onto you. And to some might be fearful, but some aren't fearful. Some want to stick up to the narcissist. Some want to go toe to toe with the narcissist. And guess what? That's you losing, that's you losing touch with reality and understanding that's what they want. That's what they wanted, that reaction. They need a reaction out of you because that's what's going to make them feel good. That's what's going to make them feel good. And this is why when you don't give the narcissist a reaction, when you leave these people alone and they're trying to hoover you and you don't take them in, guess what happens? They become fearful because they thought they had it figured out. This is why they have to have the last word when they leave. They want to leave you in fear. Why would someone want to make you feel good that's been purposely hurting you? Purposely putting fear in your life. Why would they want to end on good terms? They're like, I don't want you to think you're going to do, but they're competing with you even after. They don't want you to feel like you got them in your corner and you didn't waste your time because you still got a friend in them, They don't want you to feel like that. If anything, they even become fearful because they don't want the new supply to be aware of who you are or your behaviors or, not your behaviors, but the relationship and how it ended with the narcissist. They don't want, to be exposed to this person. So they're even fearful, when they move on, because they're like, I want to leave fear in you because I'm fearful that the new supply, you're going to try to expose me to them. So now they're acting like maniacs, right? So narcissists want you in constant fear a lot of times because they're fearful. It's like having a boss who, someone, up ahead of them, above them, is pressuring them, and they have fear of losing their job. They come around, they have a bad attitude. They try to put that fear onto you. If I'm going out, all you guys are going out before I go out because I'm still in control. So anyone doesn't do what I say, or does things the way I like them, guess what? It's your ass because I'm fearful too. Do your part so I could do my part, right? Because I'm fearful too, right? So it's all about how you handle pressure. And when you can't handle that pressure, the narcissist knows it. And this is why they laugh. This is why they try to torture you. It's like I said, it's very deadly, because if someone is weaker, in the mind, that can affect that person to the point where they will take their own life. And I've seen it. I've seen this happen. I've been witness of these type of altercations, triangulation, gaslighting, not being civil with one another and purposely antagonizing and lying and doing things that bring people to a very low vibration, So the narcissist, they need to put that fear onto you. This is why a lot of people get catfish. You ever seen that show Catfish, where, there's always a story like, it's always like, the person being catfished and the person who is catfishing needing money or going through something that didn't really happen, but because they got someone to talk to, it makes them feel good. It soothes them, even though they're not telling them the truth. They're just having intimate conversations, and that will play tricks with your mind, because if you talk long enough with someone, you think you know them. What makes this so dangerous is that if you're an empath and you're not conscious of what is happening, right? You're someone who is a giver, who gives. See, the difference is that when you become conscious of these things, you can't give to everyone. So the narcissist takes advantage of this, because if you feel like you're close to them and now they've become a familiar spirit, they will give you, the type of attention by love bombing you and giving you something intimate, conversation, attention. Most people are consumed with themselves or their everyday life. So the narcissist puts extra attention on you. And this is where people will make plans. Sometimes people will even move out of the town that they live in and go live closer, or people start acting on impulse because the narcissist's attention becomes a drug to them, right? So if the narcissist sees you that invested in them, if they see that you're going over and beyond for them, they know they have, they're getting grade A supply. So you become fearful because now you have high expectations. So the narcissist knows this when now everything that you've guys been talking about, you start making moves, you start putting these things into action. And to them, that's the same thing they're going to use to gaslight you and to make you look crazy later. The more you share, the more you start putting your guard down, saying, I'm safe. And you're not in fear. You feel safe because you just expressed yourself to someone. And to that person, you don't really know them, so they feel like they're in control. They got the tools. They feel like you put your guard down and they won. That's when the narcissist feels like they won. From there on out, they feel like, I just got to keep talking to you till you feel familiar with me. Then I'll be able to control you. Then I might share things that aren't even true. Or I might, talk about my daily life and how my day went. And you're going to think, hey, this is my friend. Or, this is someone I'm close to. Or, I really like this person. I might want something serious with them because they seem down to earth. To the narcissist, it's like, oh, I already got in your mind. I'm already in here. The door is already wide open. The portal is wide open. I could just come in and out when I want to. I can call you when I want to. I'm going to call you in the morning. I'm going to call you in the night. I'm going to leave my scent on you. I'm going to leave things around. I'm literally going to invade your mind. Make you trust me. And now anytime anything happens to you, you're sharing it with me. And I'm just listening. I'm just listening. You're not even fearful. You don't fear anything. They're kind of mad. They're kind of jealous of you. They're kind of jealous of you. They're like, you're so filled with life. I'm death. I'm literally walking a walking corpse, and you're so filled with life. You have no fear. So anytime they do things to you, anytime you're in pain, anytime you're shedding tears, they don't care. When I met the narcissist, right, dating for a couple months, right, things kind of went quickly, right? It went slow and then it just started going quickly. And I realized I had no fear. You're young, you're full of life. I had no fear. Death, I didn't think about those things, right? You're around people that think about everything and they're not even strong enough to be there for you. So they're wasting time with you. And then you got those that, and what you realize about this, when you're in pain and you're thinking ahead and you're thinking about everything, right? You don't got the energy to play games with anyone. You realize how much of a fraud the narcissist really is. That fear. You also realize that when things happen, you don't have no one to go to. You have to become a problem solver. And when you become a problem solver, and then you don't, whatever you don't have control over, you realize you don't have control over it, and it hurts you. But you don't go out and do things because you aren't in a position of controlling things you don't have any control over, and you can't take it out on other people. And you can't expect everybody to wake up and see things the way you see them, because sometimes it's better for them to just be asleep, because at least they're not in pain, and you could at least make them feel good. Protect them, love them, protect them, right? The narcissist does not protect you. They bring fear. They come to you like they need you, But then they tell you once they feel good, they don't need you, right? And they show it to you. They show it to you. They make it seem like they didn't need you. I just didn't want to be alone. It could have been anybody. So that's what I realized about the narcissist, is that I didn't have any fear of anything. I've been through things, but, I wasn't living in that pain. I didn't, you look ahead, you're excited about life, doing new things. Eventually, you live long enough, you see enough things, you're like, oh, ain't nothing out there for me. It's none but games, right? So the narcissist sees that, so they don't know how to connect to people that don't, that are on their path. To them, they look at you like you still have a chance, right? They look at you like you're a dreamer while they're stuck in the purgatory in their mind, right? They don't come to protect you, right? They feel like, I'm not here to protect you, right? But they know who to play with. So what I realized is that because they couldn't connect to me through fear, they instilled fear in me, right? So they would do little things so that I could be fearful. Then they shock you with with big news, right? So with me, after being with the narcissist for nearly 2 years, he's like, I have a son. I just found out I have a son. And he's like crying, and we had talked about the future and things like that, So to me, that really messed me up, because you're thinking, oh, one day, we're going to have our own family. You're thinking they're being honest with you about their situation. And then boom, he hits me with, oh, I just found out I have a kid. I'm like, how do you not know you have a kid, So the narcissist is like, oh, they had told me, when they were pregnant that they were pregnant, but they didn't really know who the dad was. She wasn't sure who the dad was. So I'm just finding out. And I'm like, you're just finding out? Yeah, they finally did a DNA test, and his son was 4 years. So I was kind of in shock. And really, that should have been the moment I left. I should have left. That should have been the moment that I left. That should have been the moment that I should have left. Sorry, you guys. But I didn't. I was in shock. So sometimes when you are fearful of something, you can also be in a position where you're in shock. So if you fear something, or you weren't expecting something, and now you're kind of in shock, it'll start making you fearful, because now everything you thought would happen isn't going to happen. So now you're like, oh, what I wanted isn't going to happen. And then you're fearful at the same time to leave the relationship, because you feel like you've stuck it out this far, and then they come at you like they're the victim, but everything you want can still happen. It's still a possibility, right? So it's you don't want to face those fears. So what you do is you're almost frozen, and you kind of accept it, because you look at them like a victim, but the whole thing was premeditated. They already knew these things. They just were keeping it a secret. Now they feel like I'm in a position where I can't keep this a secret, because you're going to know, you're going to find out. Or, they know, hey, I'm going to have visitation, so now I have to say something, right? So what's crazy is that they don't even come at you being honest, because if they are honest, then you would know that they probably been with this person the whole time. So they have to make it seem like they're the victim, so they lie, right? So narcissists, you know, they put fear into you, you know. They make you doubt yourself. They gaslight you. Now if you don't want to be around them, or if you choose to leave or not deal with them, right? Now they're constantly, bothering you, right? The moment that I'm like, oh no, it's another, it's like a ripple effect of BS going on. So next time something else comes up, I'm like, I can't take this anymore. I'm done. Now they're constantly calling, constantly trying to get in contact, with you through other people. And then you become fearful. This is another thing that I experienced before. I forget. The fear of I felt like they were watching me, I felt like they were stalking me. I felt like if I was to open my door, they were going to pop up somewhere. I started having fear, it's like you're not afraid of this person, but you are afraid of them at the same time, because you don't know when they're going to pop up, right? You might block them. So what the narcissist started doing with me, it's like now they're coming to my job, giving me gifts, chocolate covered strawberries. They're coming up out of nowhere, and I'm kind of like, hey, why are you here? I knew it was Valentine's Day. Some of my coworkers, their husbands or boyfriends brought them gifts, but I wasn't expecting you to come to the job. What's that about? Why, couldn't you wait? They want to put that fear onto you so that they can let other people know, they're there, they're with you. Oh, she's not single, she's with me. It's disguised as, oh, it's Valentine's Day, I'm gonna bring a gift, but they're looking around. They know you're not on good terms with them, so they think you're gonna go and be with someone else because that's what they were doing. So you become fearful because you're like, why are they like this? Why are they showing up like this? You're like, oh, they're trying to are they jealous? Oh, I have to make you almost become fearful to talk to the opposite sex, because you almost feel like, shoot, they just popped up at my job. They can do it again. And then they could try to pick a fight with me and act like me and my coworker got something going on. So a lot of times you'll see certain narcissists, you'll see certain women who they're bringing their husbands or people around and it looks innocent, but a lot of times that narcissist is latching on to that person, and you can see it in their eyes. It's actually pretty scary, because once you experience this type of fear through these type of people that are just trying to drain people out of their energy, just energy vampires, you start to look at people differently. You start to pay attention to things that people don't pay attention to, or people around you are oblivious to it. They think they're with a good person, but you could see through them, right? Just like people could see through the narcissist a lot of times that you were with. They're like, this isn't normal behavior, right? One minute they're here, one minute they're not. One minute they're obsessing over you, the next minute they don't want nothing to do with you. So, I had that fear where I felt like something's up, right? I feel like I'm being watched, I'm being monitored. When I was going to school, I remember the narcissist, someone wrote, I miss you on my back windshield, and my back windshield was pretty dusty. So he was able to write I miss you or I love you, something like that. And, the girls at my school, everyone's laughing, and I'm like, which one of you guys did this? And they're like, we didn't do this. You have a secret admirer. Someone did this, not us. I'm like, I got in my car and left, and I didn't trust them. I just felt like it was them. I'm thinking in my head like it was them because I had never been in a relationship with someone this weird, right? So at the moment, I wasn't fearful. I'm just like, who did this? And then later on, he exposed himself and he's like, oh, that was me. Like I had passed by, but I didn't see you. And in my head, I'm still oblivious to it. Like maybe he was around the neighborhood and passed by the school and like, and I'm like, why wouldn't you call me? Oh, you had me blocked. You weren't talking to me. So, you know, so, I had to go right on your car. And I'm like, okay. So they'll call you from other numbers too, right? So that's another thing. They would call me now from another number. So they're playing all these games, right? And you're not seeing it, but you're like, oh, who why are you calling me from this number? Oh, I'm using my brother's phone. Oh, I'm using my mother's phone. Oh, this is my sister's phone. And a lot of times they got an extra phone. And then that's another one, right? So now they're putting this fear on you. You're paranoid. Now you're around them, and eventually you see that they have an extra phone or something, and they're using it, right? But they're like, oh, it's not on. But I just get on here. I just get on this one sometimes because I got games on here or something. So then it makes you question, were they really calling me from someone else's phone, or do they have like extra phones and stuff, right? The thought will go in your mind and you'll just, nah, I got an old phone in my room too. I don't use it. Maybe, I don't even use it though at all. If I have a game or something, like I'm just going to download it on my new phone. But you don't think about those things. You just think, oh, I have a phone maybe. It's situations where you can't question, right? You can't question, but if you're wise enough and you've been through things, those are things you're going to question. That's why the narcissist knows you're unaware of what's going on. You should be afraid of them because they're not even who they say they are. So then when you do start questioning them, that's when they become fearful. But they're not going to show you fear. They're going to show you anger. They're going to show you anger because they don't want to feel fear. They feel like they're stronger, they're smarter than you because they were able to manipulate you. So now that's when they're going to, oh, you have daddy issues, you have mommy issues. Now they're going to bash you. Now they're going to call you names. Now they're going to say things that you don't like. And now you're fearful even more because you're like, the person I love just lost their shit and said things to me that I would never say to them, right? So if you decide to walk away, here they go again. They're fearful. They're back to being fearful. So they keep blame shifting, right? And then they don't take accountability. They keep gaslighting. They keep lying. And they keep trying to even manipulate you to do things for them. Oh, I'm not being a good person. I'm not being nice because I'm behind on my bills. And you don't do anything but make me waste money on you and going out and things like that, right? So they were once love bombing you, and they're bringing up the things that because it was an investment. So now they're like, oh, I ran out of money. I'm running out of my investment. This is your cue to help me now, right? Because if you don't help me, then we don't need to be together anymore. And your stomach, your heart will literally sink to your stomach, and you're like, what? I'm just going through a lot. Now they'll do things to try to get things out of you. And I've seen this before with a lot of women. I had coworkers, I had a lot of people that after I experienced what I experienced, I'm telling them, you're going to go do what? Oh, I'm going to go buy him some shoes for his job. Oh, I'm going to go give him some money so he can fix his car so he can get to work. He's not going to do anything for you because he hasn't really done anything for you. And then you're going to help him because that's going to make him do something for you. Because he's going to change, right? He's not going to change. Or, the narcissist now, they're even making commands. Like, they're telling you to do shit. They're telling you to do shit. That's the craziest part. That's the craziest part. I had a coworker once who she was like, oh, I'm going to buy this guy I'm with some shoes. He's not talking to me, but it's his birthday and I still want to buy him some shoes. And, I don't know when I go over there, if he's going to be there. And I'm just like, because she's younger, and I'm just like, girl, like, like, no, my sweet baby, no, don't do it. I'm like, if they're not talking to you now, what is the logic in going to give them a birthday gift if they don't even care if you're alive? Like that's the crazy part, is that sometimes the empath is so fearless that they're so fearless that you got to have a little fear in you. You gotta have enough fear in you, because you don't have no fear. You're giving something to someone who's not there, who doesn't care if you're here or not, who's probably with someone else, and now you're gonna go build enough courage to go take them some shoes, and someone might be there and might do something to you. So you have no fear. You're not afraid. You're not afraid that the narcissist or someone else can do something to you. There's no fear in you. You got to have some kind of fear, or like I said, now, this friend, oh, I'm going to go and give them this money so they can get to work, so they could be a better person, or because I'm pregnant and he needs to get his life back together because I'm pregnant and he's going to have you think the narcissist is going to change because you're going to have a child with them. I know it seems like, hey, how can you got to have faith. I get it, but not when you're dealing with a narcissist. Not when you're dealing with a narcissist. See, in the moment, you're emotional. You're probably even fearful of having a child. You're even fearful of the narcissist maybe not being, becoming a better person. You might have all these fears going through your body because of it. And now guess what? The narcissist gets their car fixed and they're ghosts, they're gone. And that was your worst fear. They knew that and it came true. So when you have a fear of them doing something and they do it, you need to run. I don't know why we don't run. I don't know why we're stuck like deers in the headlight. Like, I don't know, but I've seen it. I've experienced it. So when I see someone else going through something that doesn't seem logical, I automatically know you're under some type of MK Ultra. You're under a spell. I know. And people are like, you're dangerous to be around because you can just snap. You could snap. The narcissist knows that, but they feel like by the time you snap, they feel like they're going to have one up on you. They've been making plans the whole time. And what happens? You'll take these people back. Sometimes they'll take your children from you. Say that you're crazy, you're the irrational one. What happens, the narcissist goes and ends up, you're pregnant, they get their car fixed, they go and get someone else pregnant. I've seen it happen. You know what that person got back? They got a broken nose. They went back. They made excuses. They were thinking about what they wanted. But at the same time, they also, even though they're thinking about what they want, they also have their doubts. That's the fear. And that's what the narcissist brings to you. They bring fear. So if you're thinking it, they are going to do it. You know? And what's crazy is that a lot of times you're thinking they're not. You're thinking they're bluffing, and they're not. And they're not. The empath gives narcissistic people infinite supply, and they're literally sacrificing you because they're not strong enough. They don't want to think about reality. They want to live every day like it's their last, and they're willing to take you out before they take themselves out. That's what you're dealing with. So the narcissist a lot of times connects to people through trauma, through fear, you know, and then by the time you turn around, you're so far down the rabbit hole, you feel like you're better off staying. And sometimes even when you feel like you're better off staying and people are still telling you could get out, some people just don't, or some people do, and then they regret leaving and they feel like going back because they feel like they don't have control over themselves, because now they feel like they're living in constant fear, and they didn't live like that before the narcissist. So now it's became comfortable, and the silence is uncomfortable to them. Peace is uncomfortable to them. So what I've realized is that when I was able to get my peace back, even though I have peace, I also have fear. Not enough to kill me, but enough to keep me aware. And what I realize now is that, you know, when you leave, you're like, oh, I come across a lot of narcissists, right? So what I realize is that a lot of people too, when they leave, they're fearful because they feel like they were committing sin. They feel like they were living a life that just wasn't good. It wasn't a righteous life. So they're fearful. And then they go to people, to healers, to coaches. They go to church. And then guess what? Those people tell them, you know, those people put more fear on them. They say, hey, if you don't do this, because you were doing this over there with the narcissist, because you was out there in the world doing this with them, you're going to go to hell. You're going to go to hell. So now people get put, you know, now people have more fear in them. So now they're fearful to do bad things, so they feel like they got to do the right things all the time. And then they, you know, they get around, some people even get around certain people, right, who don't have fear, but because they're not living the same type of life, that person thinks they're doing everything right. They're like, oh, I'm doing everything perfect. I'm being perfect now. I'm being good now. But they still have that fear. So when they come across someone that doesn't have fear, they'll just think, oh, that's a narcissist. They don't have any fear, right? That person doesn't have to run to someone fearful. So you'll assume you got people that will run from fear, get into a cult that put fear in them, and now they're looking at people who want the best for them as the enemy. They're thinking, oh, you're trying to bring me back into the world, into that world. No, I'm gonna stay here. I'm safe here with this cult. So you got people that's like fearful everywhere, right? They don't even know what to believe because they've been gaslit for so long. So they stay where they feel comfortable, where they feel safe from narcissistic people. And guess what? These narcissists are everywhere. So what I realized is that even conversations right off the top, you know, narcissists, their presence is very, you could feel their presence right away. Certain narcissists, they want you to be fearful towards them right away. They might be quiet, aggressive. Some of them might be, they come and they start telling you things that they've done to other people right away, like bad things. And you're like, what's going on with this person? Right? Some people come at you with, things that, acting like the victim, but then they got so much hate that they're premeditating things on others. Right? Just fearful. You got certain people that just, they hang around waiting for others to come and hang around every single day in fear. In fear. You got certain people that try to act like they're not fearful of anything, but then they're doing things to make you feel fear, and it's not working. And then they start getting frustrated themselves because it's not working. That means you're functioning off of fear, no matter how arrogant and confident you're behaving. Some of them, they start telling you, oh, you look sad, you look this, you look mad. They're trying to make up things that you do not feel. You're at peace, but they want to say, hey, you look mad, you look sad. Oh, I can't read you. You're someone I can't read. Or they just start asking you questions, or they might even start picking on you. They might start looking at something they feel you might be insecure about and call you out on it, just to see if you're confident or not. They might disguise it as a joke, and they want to put fear onto you. And they're going to feel like you're going to try to prove that you have no fear. But I know you do. That's what they're thinking. I know you do. Trying to act like you're so tough. You probably dealt with a narcissist already. Trying to act like you're at peace. Trying to act like you're at peace. No, you're not. They even try to shoot their shot with you, and it doesn't work. They try to give you compliments. It doesn't work. They try to ask you intellectual questions about the world, religion, society. They try to tell you things to see how much do you know. They're trying to see if you can hold a conversation with them. They think, oh, I can't put fear onto you, so now I gotta sell you. I gotta sell you, and then later on I'm gonna ask you for something, because all I gotta do is pretend to be good, and I'll be able to get what I want from you, because I don't see the fear, but I bet if I'm good, you're gonna think I'm like you. And then when they ask you for a favor, they ask you for something, and you deny them again because you know you were waiting on that one. You're like, that one's gonna come later, because they're gonna try to play this nice role for a little bit longer. And then when you don't go through with what they want, guess what? They're gonna still try to suck it up. Oh, I thought you were a good person. Oh, now they're going to blame shift. They're going to try to put fear onto you so you can think that you're like the narcissistic people that have betrayed you, that have used you, that have stolen from you. But that's not what that is. You just, you can't trust this person yet. So guess what? Eventually, they're going to say, I put up this act for way too long. Now I'm mad. They're going to try to ask you again, and you deny them. Guess what? Now they're showing you who they are. They can't say nothing negative about you because you haven't disclosed any of your fears. So now they're just going to say something to disrespect you and get mad. The narcissist can smell fear off of people. They can see it. They can smell it. It doesn't matter if you're in there with your friends, everyone's having a good time. They're looking at you like all of you are fearful. That's why you're together. And then they're going to try to talk to you. And because everyone's in a good mood, you're going to be talking to them and giving them narcissistic supply. You're going to think, oh, that was a friendly person. They were cool. I like them. And the narcissist thinks you're dumb. They're like, you don't have fear. You trusted me right away just because I'm a stranger. All of your friends, you guys are all fearful. I can manipulate every one of you. I can buy you guys. You know, you're being super friendly. I can buy you. I can take advantage of you. And then I'm going to turn into your worst nightmare because now I'm going to bring fear onto you. You should have never trusted me. You should have never told me where you lived. Now I'm gonna plot someone to come rob you. And then you're gonna be fearful because you don't know who did it. But you could come and talk to me. I act like I don't know nothing about it. I'll play stupid with you. That's how they look at it. So narcissists function off of fear. You know, they need the empath to be fearful because that's how they can control you. And then guess what? If you're having fun with them, if you're having a couple of drinks with them, if you're out there smoking with them and you're doing things, they're relaxing you even more. And now they become a drug to you. They become a drug to you even when they're gone. So narcissists feed off of fear. They make their problems your problems. And then they stick around while you're going down the rabbit hole. And then they make your worst fears come true. So this is why when people tell you, you know, get away from that person or whatever the case is, it doesn't sound like a big deal. You think that no one can control you. You think that no one has access to you. You think that you're fully conscious of your actions, of how things are going to play out, but you're not. You're never safe, especially with a narcissist. So you have to be aware of someone who isn't truthful, someone who lies, someone whose moods are switching on you and you know you haven't done anything, someone who doesn't take accountability, someone who doesn't care about your feelings, but when something happens to them, they want you to be there for them, someone who makes you feel at ease, like something is up, the tension is up. I told you guys when I started dating after the narcissist, which it took me a long time, and then when I got to it, and I said, this person, you know, they have their life together, they're handsome, they're financially well off. I thought they were Prince Charming, right? I was like, well, maybe this is going to happen, you know, after the shitty relationship I was in with this person for so many years. So I'm like, you know, something was off, the energy, something about their energy was off, but they were doing all the right things. So I thought it was my energy. I even became fearful at one point, and I felt like I was being monitored because they have a monitoring spirit, right? So just being around these people, because they are monitoring spirits, they will make you feel fearful. Some of them are independent. Some of them are in cults. They come off really nice, but they start putting this fear onto you. Some of them say things to you that make you fearful, or they use what you say against you to make you feel like you need them, or you feel safe with them. But the energy, something's gonna be off. And that's how I felt with this person, like the energy was off. And I kept having images in my mind. Being next to them, I remember when they were smiling, their teeth started looking like fangs to me, like a vampire. And I was like, this gives me chills. Something about this person just gives me the hippie-jibbies. I gotta stop talking to them. You know, I started feeling fearful. I was like, is he a police officer? Because I feel fearful. Like Like he's a freaking cop or something and he's watching me. I started having this feeling like he's driving past my house feeling. I'm like, is he driving past my house? And then he would call me and he's like, hey, I'm going to get off work. I was wondering if maybe we can go grab a bite to eat and I could come and pick you up. And in my mind, I'm thinking, I feel like he passed by my house and now he's calling me. And I'm like, girl, maybe you're paranoid because you're with the narcissist. Eventually, when I saw those fangs and I was like, no, it's too many things that just, something doesn't make me feel like I can be comfortable with you. And then because I can't feel comfortable with you, you can sense it and now you're, what's wrong? Relax, or what happened in your last relationship? They want to know things. And then when you don't want to share these things, they're like, why are you so secretive? Something happened, huh? They want to know. They want to know your fears because they can smell it, because you haven't healed yet. You think just because a long time has passed by, you're finally ready to get out there. You're like, a long time has passed by. The narcissist is living their life. So you're like, I should be doing the same thing too. It's been enough time. There's nothing wrong with this person. The image is there, but something about their spirit just doesn't sit right with me. I felt fearful around them, like my life was in danger type of thing, to the point where I literally had to leave them, abort mission, and I was in a I was in a hurry to get out of there, nearly flew out of there. And they called me later on and they were like, why did you just take off like that? Like that was weird. Why did you just leave? He's like, I actually talked to my friend about you and I told him, like, you just took off, like you just flew out of here. I flew out of there like I was in a horror movie, you guys. I had literally felt like I had a panic attack. I literally felt like I was sensitive to energy because I had protected my energy for so long. So now I could feel people's energies. I could sense my eardrums would start hearing their heartbeat, can feel their pineal gland bouncing off the wall when they were studying and observing me. I'm like, oh no, I gotta get out of here. It's a predator. They're preying on me, right? So he thought I was tripping, but I was like an animal in front of a lion ready to run off. I felt it. I felt fear. That's why sometimes you have to go through feeling fear and feeling pain to be aware, to be more conscious of these things, and then you protect those around you. You don't get mad at people for not seeing things your way. You can see things coming for people because you're around them to protect them. You don't know your responsibility until you go through these things, right? So I left. I told you guys before, I went to go see a friend, that I hadn't seen in a couple of years. And as soon as I see her, as soon as I hug her, my mind said, ask her if she knows this guy that you've been dating. Let's just say his name is Josh. My mind said, ask her if she knows Josh. I said, why would I ask her that? Just ask her. I'm like, I'm not going to ask her if she knows Josh. I haven't seen her in years. That's stupid. Just ask her. No, I don't want to ask her. Just ask her. What do you have to lose? All right, I'll ask her. Do you know Josh? What? Why are you asking me if I know Josh? Josh, the one that drives this and has this? Josh with this, his color, the color of his car is this? I'm like, yeah. Where does he live? Why are you asking me about him? Did he send you here? No, he didn't send me here. He doesn't even know I'm here. Matter of fact, he doesn't even know I know you. So how do you know that I know him? I don't know. My intuition just told me to ask you. I don't believe you. I'm going to call him right now. No, don't call him. He don't even know I know you. I'm telling you. Then how do you know? You with him or something? Like, I'm like, no, I used to talk to him. She's like, so that's why you're here. I'm like, no, that's not why I'm here. Came here to see you, but I guess I came here to find that out because I had an intuition, but I wasn't sure. So I felt like God was telling me, no, listen to your intuition, listen to my voice. I've been trying to tell you this whole time, but you just don't listen. You just don't hear me. You're just not connected. Why? Because people have put fear into you, and you had to go through that so that you can protect others, so that you can show them, help them, so that they can see things coming before they come. So that's my purpose, because we live and die, and that's all that we have is information. And some people are going to listen because they need it, and some people are not because they're not fearful. They haven't been through enough fear. But eventually, when they've been through enough fear, they'll be here listening to me because they're going to need it. So I'm sending you guys lots of love, light, peace, and your healing. If you guys enjoyed this, don't forget to like, share, subscribe. And if you guys want to book a session with me, you guys always know my booking information is on the description. And as always, I'll talk to you guys on the next one. Love you guys. Bye.